Good morning. This is Thursday, the 25th of February 2021, and I'm out here starting out with what I've got going here. If I stay in the shadow, that's a pile of rock that's been through the half-inch sifter. So that's half. It's been and that's rock. That's sand and pebble that came out of that. I'm going to further classify that today by separating it and putting it through a 1/4-inch sifter so that I get sand and pebbles. But we cleaned this out last night, me and my helper that comes over. But it's windy this morning, so I'm trying to make this before the wind. But these are my water levels. And I did a little mapping the other day, and I got them all purged. You can see where the water, that's the water level right there. If I were to stand them up, they'd be perfectly equal as far as the thing, what their measurement is, because they're both sitting on the same. But if I were to take it, like I measured the other day, to the gutter from this threshold right here where the garage doors comes down, out there to the gutter was over a 12 to 14 inch drop where the water runs down in the gutter. That's you wouldn't think it was that much, but you can measure the grading. Now the reason I have these out is yesterday, for about the last month now, I've been trying to get this graded right so that it drains properly to the street, not only for my lot, but for my neighbor's lot. This house was built for me years ago, and it was built wrong because for every reason, but they graded all the grading that the water would stay on the lot. All the water coming off that roof and that roof and that roof, all would stay on the lot in a retention basin here on the lot. Okay, I'm trying to break that up. Once I went and got the community plans for the drainage and the grading plans and stuff like that, I realized what happened. Well, yesterday I didn't have any of this excavated. All this bare stuff where the cactus is, between those two water meters and everything, was covered with rock. But yesterday I decided I'm going to uncover it to the street because on my property I want landscape fabric and good rock. This rock right here in my neighbor's yard that's called the Sundance blend. It's sold locally, and the quality of that rock when they deliver it sometimes is filled with pebbles and sand that doesn't drain, and it's an impurity. This rock pile right there, that's all drainage rock. That's going to go back down on top of this when I do a little grading, but I'm going to get the water levels out today. And what I'm trying to do is where you see that first cone off in a distance, that's going to be the dividing point between whether the water drains onto the golf course or it drains to the street. It's going to start there. So I'm going to start with my water levels up there, and I'm going to put the water level down on the street. One thing that I found out, and I'm very tickled that I did this job yesterday, is I was under the assumption that if you look on the satellite map for this property, the satellite map more or less goes right over that cactus right there. And I'll back up. I tend to do this when I go telephoto. I forget to bring it back. Okay. I used to think that the property line, was between the cactus and that water meter box. Well, yesterday, because I was doing some excavating and I wanted to clean this up and get it right, I'll show you. If you can see, right there, that stake with the little red ribbons on it is the original line stake. I found it yesterday. I thought I was being bold and adventurous going into my neighbor's yard about 3 feet, but I want to get the drainage right. And by uncovering all this from the sidewalk up to the corner of the house yesterday and sifting it, I was going along and all of a sudden I hit metal. And there it is. There's that stake right there that I hit. So that's the original property line. And that means that gives me about 3 more feet to 4 more feet of property than I thought I ever owned. And I'm very appreciative of my ambition yesterday to get this uncovered and do it right, because I would have never found that stake. I would have always been forever and ever under the assumption that the property line was between that box and that cactus. And it's not. It's about 4 feet away over here. So it gives me 4 feet more to work on getting the drainage correct here. I've gone through a lot of effort to get the water off the lot. I put gutters on the last 2 houses. The 2 houses I have all gutters, and I have drains dedicated to take the water to either the street or to the golf course. But this is what I'm dealing with. All that is more or less, there's very little big rock in that. And what I have to do is, with the water levels, I'm going to start right here with an adjusted property line. I'm going to have an adjusted property line that's over here, right about here. A foot away from this wall, it's going to be the property line. So I have to work all this and cover it with landscape fabric. Once I get it graded and I use the water levels, like for instance, there's a 12-inch drop to the corner, 13-inch drop to that corner, distant corner out there, just right of that plant, where I want the water to go. It's about 60 feet, 65 feet from there to over there where the corner is, where I was just standing by the cactus. That's 65, 66 feet, and it drops about 13 inches in that period. So what I have to do is I have to go halfway between, like I got to go 33 feet and have it drop 6 inches. And I'm going to take the 66 feet and put it in 6-foot increments, or 13 into 66 is like every 5 feet it has to drop an inch. Every 5 feet it has to drop an inch. And I can do that. And when I get it all contoured and where the water comes away from my house into this dedicated drain that's set up to drain toward the street, a positive drop, and wherever, because I used to own this house and own this other lot, my neighbor's lot, I'm going to do what I can to try to relieve the pressure on this area right here. This area right here was designated by the builder when they graded the lot to be the retention basin for this lot. It's a low area right there. You can see where that plant is the bottom of a shallow lake that was built by the builder so that the lot would have its own dedicated retention. It doesn't run onto the street and it doesn't run onto the golf course, which is okay until you get 5 or 6 days straight of rain. When you get 5 or 6 days straight of rain, this water is landlocked. It'll never go anywhere. The only way it's going to get out of here is through absorption or evaporation. That's why I'm doing all this work to correct this. And it's hard because my neighbor doesn't get it. He refuses to believe, or he can't believe, or doesn't want to believe that the builder would do that to somebody. Well, I was a California investor in Arizona. I don't have to tell you any more than that. I was a California investor that outbid all the locals here in Buckeye for these 3 lots. And that's all I need to say. All you need is that information to go on if you have a history with California investors in Arizona, and you'll know what I put up with here. I was labeled, I was enslaved, I was exploited, everything else. They did every trick in the book to load my lot with burden. The burden of drainage, the burden of golf balls, everything else. And the burden of having to drive my golf cart out to Sundance Parkway instead of 40 or 50 feet away to a dedicated access easement that's on the plat map. My big problem with the HOA, the town of Buckeye, is the HOA won't recognize anything on the plat map for parcel 12. They won't recognize that tract A in parcel 12 is supposed to drain completely with no residual. Tract A is being used as a retention basin right now. It has a threshold at the end for all you engineers. All you engineers on the board, you junior varsity pyramid builders you got out here in Buckeye, that's what I call you. Junior varsity pyramid builders. You think you know, but you don't. Right? You thought you were going to get away with this forever and ever. You didn't. You got somebody in here that knows as much about pyramid building as you do. All right? I don't have the social context to get things done like you, but I know the engineering and I know the geometry. So there. This is my start of the day. I'm going to be out here sifting that, building bean bags. That's it for today. Maybe I'll do something at the end of the day.